We're often told that needing too much ruins relationships, that if you ask for reassurance, connection, closeness, or consistency, you're being clingy, demanding, too sensitive. So many people walk into relationships already apologizing for their needs. But here's the truth. The problem is not that you have needs. The problem is that many of us never learned the difference between healthy needs and needs shaped by old wounds. And until we understand that difference, we will either silence ourselves or exhaust our partners trying to fill something no one else can fill. Let's talk about what's truly healthy and what isn't. Every human being has relational needs. We need to feel seen. We need emotional responsiveness. We need safety. We need consistency. We need repair after conflict. These are not weaknesses. They are biological requirements. The nervous system is wired for connection. When those needs are met, we regulate, we soften, we trust, we open. Healthy needs are grounded in reality. They say, I need honesty, I need respect, I need emotional presence, I need to feel safe expressing myself. Healthy needs do not demand perfection. They invite partnership. But unhealthy needs often sound different. They are not wrong, they are wounded. Unhealthy needs are usually attempts to soothe old pain. They say, I need you to constantly reassure me or I panic. I need you to never disappoint me. I need you to fill the emptiness I've carried since childhood. I need you to prove I'm worthy. When our early needs were unmet, our nervous system learned survival strategies. Maybe you learned that love disappears unpredictably, so now you need constant contact to feel safe. Maybe you were criticized, so now you need endless validation. Maybe you felt invisible, so now you fear any independence from your partner. These are not character flaws, they are adaptations. But here's the crucial difference. Healthy needs seek connection. Unhealthy needs seek regulation through control. Healthy needs say, walk with me. Unhealthy needs say, carry me so I don't fall into my past. And no partner, no matter how loving, can heal what only self-awareness can transform. A relationship becomes strained not because someone has needs, but because the needs are unconscious. When we don't recognize our wounds, we expect our partner to manage them. We become reactive instead of reflective. But healing changes this dynamic. When you begin to regulate yourself, when you learn to soothe your nervous system, when you recognize your triggers as echoes of the past rather than threats in the present, your needs shift. You still need connection, but you no longer need your partner to rescue you from yourself. Healthy love is interdependent, not fused, not avoidant, not controlling. Two nervous systems choosing connection, not demanding survival from each other. And that is where real intimacy begins. Let me tell you some factors for healthy V's as unhealthy needs in a relationship. Healthy needs are expressed clearly. Unhealthy needs are expressed through anxiety or control. When a need is healthy, it comes from presence rather than panic. It is not loaded with accusation. It is not wrapped in blame. It is not disguised as criticism. It is simply an honest expression of what your nervous system requires in order to feel connected and safe. A healthy need sounds like, I miss you when we don't talk. It sounds like, I feel distant lately, can we reconnect? It sounds like, when that happens, I feel hurt. There is vulnerability in it. There is ownership in it. The person is not trying to manage the other's behavior through pressure. They are revealing their inner experience. That kind of expression invites closeness because it is transparent. It says, here is what is happening inside me. Unhealthy expression of need, however, often doesn't look like a need at all. It looks like anxiety. It looks like irritation. It looks like control. Instead of saying, I feel insecure when you pull away, the anxious nervous system says, why are you always ignoring me? Instead of saying, I need reassurance, becomes constant texting, checking, monitoring. Instead of saying, I'm afraid of losing you, it becomes jealousy, interrogation, or emotional tests. When a need is expressed through control, it's usually because at some earlier point in life, direct expression did not feel safe. Perhaps vulnerability was dismissed. Perhaps emotions were mocked. Perhaps asking led to rejection. So the nervous system learned another strategy. If I control, I won't be abandoned. If I criticize first, I won't be hurt. If I demand certainty, I won't have to feel uncertainty. But control does not create safety. It temporarily reduces anxiety while quietly eroding trust. When someone tries to control the other's behavior to soothe their own fear, the relationship becomes a regulation strategy rather than a connection. The partner begins to feel managed instead of met. Underneath every controlling pattern is usually a frightened part that once learned, if I don't secure love, it will disappear. The tragedy is not that the person has needs. The tragedy is that they do not feel safe enough to name them directly. Healthy expression requires self-awareness. It requires pausing long enough to ask, what am I actually feeling right now? Often beneath anger is fear. Beneath criticism is longing. Beneath control is vulnerability. When we slow down and speak from that deeper place, something shifts. I felt anxious when you didn't reply. It reminded me of being ignored before. That statement does not demand compliance. It invites understanding. Healthy needs create room for two people to breathe. There is space for response, not just reaction. There is room for negotiation, not domination. Unhealthy expression narrows the relationship. It tightens it. It makes love feel conditional. I will be okay only if you behave this way. But true intimacy requires risk. It requires the courage to say, this is my fear. This is my longing. I am not trying to control you. I am trying to be known. When needs are spoken clearly, without manipulation or accusation, they strengthen the bond. When they are expressed through anxiety or control, they may temporarily calm fear, but they deepen disconnection. The work is not to eliminate needs. The work is to become conscious enough to express them without turning them into weapons. That is the difference between survival and intimacy. Healthy needs respect autonomy. Unhealthy needs fear separation. Healthy needs understand something essential about love, closeness, and freedom are not opposites. When a need is healthy, it does not require the other person to shrink in order for you to feel secure. It allows space. It trusts that connection can survive distance. It recognizes that two people can move independently and still remain emotionally bonded. A healthy need says, I value our time together, and I also respect that you have your own world. It says, I miss you when you're away, but I don't resent you for having a life. It says, your autonomy does not threaten our connection. There is an internal stability beneath it. This stability usually comes from earlier experiences or later healing where separation did not equal abandonment. The nervous system learned that distance can be temporary, that love can endure absence. That individuality does not mean rejection. Unhealthy needs, on the other hand, often arise from a nervous system that once experienced separation as danger. For a child, separation can feel life-threatening. Emotional withdrawal from a caregiver can feel like annihilation. If closeness was inconsistent, unpredictable, or conditional, the body may have encoded a painful equation: distance, loss, independence, rejection, silence, abandonment. When this equation remains unconscious, adult relationships become the stage where old fears replay. A partner spending time alone may trigger disproportionate anxiety. A delayed reply may feel like emotional disappearance. A desire for space may feel like betrayal. The fear is not about the present moment. It is about the past resurfacing through the body. Unhealthy needs fear separation because the nervous system has not yet learned that separation is survivable. So instead of saying, I feel afraid when you pull away, the anxious part may cling tighter. It may demand constant reassurance. It may interpret autonomy as threat. It may try to fuse, to eliminate any space that could create discomfort. Fusion can look like intense closeness, but it is often anxiety disguised as intimacy. Healthy love does not collapse two identities into one. It allows differentiation. You can disagree and still belong. You can pursue your own interests and still be connected. You can have boundaries and still be loving. Autonomy is not emotional distance. It is individuality within connection. When needs are healthy, they do not say, stay close so I don't fall apart. They say, I choose you, and I allow you to choose freely. Unhealthy needs try to secure permanence through proximity. Healthy needs trust that love is strengthened by voluntary closeness. True intimacy requires two whole nervous systems, and not two frightened ones clinging together for regulation. If separation feels unbearable, that is not a flaw, it is information. It is an invitation to explore where that fear was first learned. It is a signal that the body is still carrying a memory of disconnection. Healing does not mean you stop wanting closeness. It means you no longer panic at the presence of space. And when autonomy is respected, love becomes lighter. There is less gripping, Less monitoring, less fear. What remains is something more mature, two people standing side by side, not because they are afraid to be alone, but because they genuinely want to be together. Healthy needs invite dialogue, unhealthy needs demand certainty. Healthy needs understand that relationships are living systems, not contracts carved in stone. They recognize that two human beings are constantly evolving, feeling, changing, reacting, growing, and because of that, healthy connection requires ongoing conversation, not rigid guarantees. A healthy need says, I want to understand what's happening between us now. It says, can we talk about this? It says, help me see your perspective. There is openness in it. There is curiosity. There is space for complexity. Healthy needs do not insist that everything be resolved instantly. They tolerate ambiguity. They allow for nuance. They accept that sometimes the answer is, I'm not sure yet. Underneath healthy needs is a nervous system that can sit with uncertainty without collapsing. Unhealthy needs, however, often arise from a nervous system that equates uncertainty with danger. If love once felt unpredictable, if safety was inconsistent, then certainty becomes the ultimate soothing mechanism. Do you still love me? Are you sure? Promise me you'll never leave. Tell me this will never happen again. These demands are not manipulative in essence, they are protective. They are attempts to eliminate anxiety by eliminating ambiguity. But no relationship can offer absolute certainty. No partner can promise that conflict will never occur. No human being can guarantee they will never change. No one can swear eternal emotional consistency. When someone demands certainty, what they are really asking for is relief from fear. The problem is that certainty, when forced, does not create security. It creates pressure. The partner may comply, offering reassurance, promises, guarantees, but over time, those promises become unsustainable because the anxious part is not soothed by words alone. It is soothed by internal safety. Healthy needs invite dialogue because they recognize that connection grows through conversation, not control. Instead of saying, promise me you'll never hurt me, a healthy expression might say, when that happened, I felt scared. Can we talk about how to prevent it next time? One demands a future guarantee. The other invites collaborative repair. Dialogue requires vulnerability. It means risking that the answer may not be perfect. It means allowing the other person to be human. Unhealthy needs seek certainty, because uncertainty once meant instability. Dialogue can feel terrifying because it opens the possibility of hearing something uncomfortable. But real intimacy cannot exist without the capacity to tolerate discomfort. When needs demand certainty, the relationship becomes rigid. It revolves around reassurance cycles. There is constant checking, constant seeking of proof, constant fear of collapse. When needs invite dialogue, the relationship becomes resilient. It can stretch, it can bend, it can repair. The deeper question beneath the demand for certainty is often, am I safe? Am I chosen? Will I survive if this changes? Healing begins when we recognize that the need for certainty is not about the partner. It is about an old fear that has not yet been soothed. As we build internal safety, our needs shift. We still want reassurance. We still value commitment, but we no longer require guarantees to breathe. Instead of demanding proof of permanence, we choose presence, and presence, repeated, honest, imperfect, is far more stabilizing than any promise of forever. Healthy needs come from self-worth. Unhealthy needs try to create self-worth. When a need comes from self-worth, it feels grounded. It does not beg. It does not chase. It does not collapse when it is not immediately met. It stands on something solid inside you. Healthy needs say, I know I deserve respect. They say, I value myself enough to ask for consistency. They say, if this relationship cannot meet my core needs, I will grieve it, but I will not abandon myself. There is dignity in that. Self-worth changes the emotional tone of need. You are not asking because you are empty. You are asking because you matter. And when your worth is not up for negotiation, your needs are clear, steady, and proportionate. Unhealthy needs, however, often arise from a deeper wound, the wound of feeling not enough. If love in childhood was conditional, if approval had to be earned, if affection came when you performed, achieved, or pleased, then the nervous system may have learned a painful belief. I become worthy when someone chooses me. In that case, the relationship is no longer just a connection. It becomes a mirror for identity. You do not simply want love. You need love to confirm that you are valuable. So when your partner pulls away, it does not just feel disappointing, it feels annihilating. When they criticize you, it does not just hurt, it feels like proof that you are defective. When they lose interest, it does not just signal incompatibility, it feels like confirmation of unworthiness. The relationship becomes the source of your self-esteem, and that is too heavy for any partnership to carry. Unhealthy needs try to create self-worth externally. They say, if you validate me enough, I will feel secure. If you choose me consistently, I will finally feel worthy. If you never leave, I will know I am enough. But worth cannot be built on someone else's behavior, because their moods will fluctuate, their attention will shift, their humanity will show. And if your value rises and falls with their reactions, you will live in constant emotional instability. Healthy needs do not seek to extract worth from the other person. They assume worth as a starting point. From that place, love becomes shared nourishment, not a lifeline. You can receive reassurance without being dependent on it. You can accept praise without needing it to survive. You can tolerate disappointment without collapsing into shame. When self-worth is internal, needs become expressions of care, not demands for validation. You are not asking someone to prove you matter. You are asking them to meet you in a space where you already know you do. This is why healing self-worth changes relationships so profoundly. You stop over-functioning to secure approval. You stop shrinking to avoid rejection. You stop tolerating disrespect to avoid being alone, not because you no longer need connection, but because connection is no longer your source of identity. And paradoxically, when you no longer need someone to make you feel worthy, you become capable of deeper love. Because love is no longer about filling a void, it becomes about sharing fullness. Healthy needs come from that fullness. Unhealthy needs try to create it. And the journey of healing is the movement from seeking worth to remembering it. Healthy needs deepen intimacy. Unhealthy needs create pressure. Healthy needs, when they are expressed with clarity and responsibility, do something beautiful. They create a pathway into intimacy. Not the performative kind of closeness where two people are just physically near each other, but real intimacy where you can be seen without fear, where you can tell the truth and still feel loved, where you can bring your tenderness into the relationship without turning it into a battlefield. A healthy need says, I want to be closer to you. It says, I want us to understand each other better. It says, I want repair, not distance. It's an invitation. And when you express needs like that, you are offering your inner world. You are letting your partner know what matters to you, what hurts, what helps, what restores connection. That honesty is not a burden, it is information. It gives your partner a map. That's why healthy needs deepen intimacy. They create contact. They allow two nervous systems to meet in truth. But unhealthy needs often carry a different emotional charge. They are not simply about connection. They are about relief. They are the attempt to end anxiety, end uncertainty, end fear, end emptiness as quickly as possible. And because the feeling underneath is urgent, the expression becomes urgent too. The need doesn't come out as an invitation, it comes out as pressure. Pressure can sound like repeated demands. Say it again. Probe it. Why aren't you answering? Fix this now. Choose me more. Pressure can also be silent but still heavy, withholding affection, testing, sulking, creating distance to punish, acting fine while radiating resentment, making the other person guess what will restore peace. The nervous system is essentially saying, manage my feelings for me because I can't tolerate them. And even if the partner loves you, over time that role becomes exhausting because love cannot flourish under surveillance. Love cannot breathe under emotional ultimatums. Love cannot stay open when it constantly feels like it's being evaluated. Am I doing enough? Am I proving enough? Am I failing some invisible test? This is why unhealthy needs create pressure. They turn the relationship into a job. The partner becomes responsible not just for connection, but for your regulation, your worth, your stability. And that's not intimacy, that's emotional labor under fear. Intimacy is mutual. Pressure is one-sided. Healthy needs create intimacy because they allow space for two humans to respond freely. There is room to say, I hear you. Room to say, I need a moment. Room to say, I want to understand. Room to repair without panic. Unhealthy needs collapse that space. They say, if you loved me, you would fix this immediately. If you cared, you would already know. If you were committed, you wouldn't need boundaries. And that can make the other person feel trapped. No matter what they do, it's not enough, because the real hunger isn't for connection, it's for the end of pain. But pain cannot be erased by another person's behavior. It can be soothed, yes. It can be held, it can be met with compassion. But if the wound is old, and the fear is deep, and the self-worth is shaky, then no amount of reassurance will permanently satisfy it. That is, when relationships begin to feel heavy, not because someone is too needy, but because the need is trying to do a job it cannot do, to replace inner security. Healthy needs deepen intimacy, because they bring you closer in truth. Unhealthy needs create pressure, because they turn love into a performance. And here is the most important point. You don't heal by having no needs. You heal by becoming conscious enough to bring your needs into the relationship without making your partner responsible for your nervous system. When you can say, this is what I feel, this is what I need, and I'm here, not to demand, not to control, but to connect. That's intimacy, and intimacy can hold needs, but it cannot survive pressure. Your needs are not the problem, but your unexamined wounds can become one. The goal is not to become low maintenance. The goal is to become conscious, to say, these are my needs, these are my triggers, and I am willing to work on what is mine, while honoring what is essential. That is maturity, that is safety, that is love that doesn't feel like survival. And when two people meet from that place, love stops feeling like fear and starts feeling like home.